Hi, my name is Katie Scarlett, and today I am going to be going over how to take your worksheets that you've already got saved and turn them into digital worksheets. So whether we end up teaching virtually at home at some point this year, or if we're just in the classroom social distancing and trying to go as paperless as possible, this will help you get those worksheets over to where your students can type directly on them and turn them in through Google Classroom. So we're starting with a graphic organizer here, and in order to get this to where the students can type on it easily, I need to take a screenshot. And a screenshot is kind of like taking a picture of whatever you've got on your computer screen that you want. The easiest way, I think, to get a really clear picture of the right size is to go into a print preview. Of course, this isn't the only way, but I like that it comes up to where I can see the whole thing and it's still clear. So in order to grab a screenshot on our Chromebooks, we're going to go Control, Shift, and push at the very top of your keyboard. There is a rectangle with two lines side by side. It's the top middle, and you're going to push all three of those together at the same time. That's going to sort of gray out your background as you see here, and it changes your cursor. In order to select what you want to screenshot, you're going to click and drag your cursor and get it lined up how you want it. And you can go ahead and click copy to clipboard. I'm done with this print preview, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel out, and I'm going to open up a new tab and open a blank Google slide. I love working in Google Slides. There's so much we can do in Google Slides, and it's useful because the students are already pretty familiar with the slides, so you really don't have to teach them too much on what they need to be doing in order to complete your assignments. So once we get into Google Slide, I'm going to delete these text boxes. We don't need them. I think we're still loading. There we go. So I'm going to delete out the preform text boxes, and I can X out of these themes. We're not going to need those. And I need to make this the size of a standard sheet of paper or the size of your worksheet. So I'm going to go to File, Page Setup, excuse me, and it's on widescreen. I'm going to use that drop down caret and go to Custom and change it to 8.5 by 11. And that gets us the box in the back, the same size as what our worksheet is. We're going to go to Background and choose Image. And I'm just going to open at the bottom my files. That's where that screenshot is just super accessible. I could also go in and look for it, but I think this is the easiest. You grab it, click, and drag it over, and it's loading. And you can see there is our worksheet. Now the students still can't type on it. So what do we need to do? Well, we're going to create them text boxes. So anywhere you wanted them to type or put in their answers, you can create a text box. I like to put type here so the students can see that, and you can click and drag and get them exactly how you want them. I choose to leave my text boxes with transparent border lines, but if you wanted to put the lines in, you would just go up here to the top and you'll hover over the pencil. It says border color. You can change that to whatever color you like. You see it outlined it. And you can, if you don't like it, you can just leave it transparent. And we're just going to keep putting in text boxes where we would want them. I'm not going to be super careful because I don't want this video to take up too much time, but you, of course, could be really, really careful about where you put your boxes and adjust them to where they all line up or whatever you would like to do. Now, you could easily pull this up on your board yourself at school. If you wanted to go over instructions, you could go over it in a Google Meet if you wanted to go over instructions if it was during distance learning. But you can also very easily put some instructions off to the side here, and you could just type in whatever directions you would want your students to see. You can, of course, change the font to whatever you want it to be. You could change the size just like we always do. And you could make it a background color. You could do a lot with your information off to the side. You could also put instructions down here in the speaker notes. All of that would work. So let's look at creating a worksheet if you didn't already have one made. So I'm going to go up to slide and go to new slide, and that gives us a new background. One thing that I've heard several teachers say that they're worried about or that they've experienced is students going in and moving things around. So if I wanted to create a Frere vocabulary organizer and worksheet, and I decided I wanted to, I'm just going to hit Control C, Control V. So just Control C for copy, Control V for paste, and get my boxes. If I created this and I assigned it to the students, they could easily pick up and move these boxes. Or, oh my gosh, I've deleted the box, teacher, now what do I do? So we're not going to create it like that. We are going to go into View and go into Master. This is now the slide you are working on. And whatever you create in Master, they cannot move. So if I wanted to go ahead and create a box in Master, I'll make it a pretty color. And then I'm going to put a text box on top of it and put definition. Change my font, make it bold, and make it big. Go ahead and move it to center. And to get out of Master, I just click off. And now look, the students cannot move this box unless they are in Master. So once I have created everything I want, so let's go back in and actually make something here. I actually don't like that font. It is hard to read. So we're just going to go with something a little simpler. And of course, you can get as fancy as you want. I'm going to make the best use of my space here. And I'm going to do this really quick. You could take as much time or as little time as you wanted. Again, I'm using the function Control C for copy and Control V for paste just to make it nice and easy. And that makes my boxes all the same size. Let's move them a little closer together. And I'm actually going to copy this text box, Control C, Control V again. So I know I've got the same size here. We're going to call this characteristics. Oops, I made a mistake, so I'm just going to use my back button. I'm copying my text box with Control C and Control V to paste. And again, this is very quick. You, of course, could make it much more fancy if you wanted to. So I've got my example. And now my non-example. And in the center, I could grab a circle. We'll make that yellow. And I'm going to grab my text box. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to use one of these other text boxes. So I know I've got matching font and size. And we're going to label that term. All right, now I'm going to click out of master, and we're going to repeat just what we did with the other one. I can put my text boxes just like we did before. And I'm going to use my control C, hold control V for copy and paste so that I can just quickly, that's control V again, get these lined up. And of course, you could spend a lot of time getting them perfect. You can change the font size if you want them to write a little bit bigger. And you can always have a theme in the background if you chose as well. You could put colors. It doesn't have to have the plain white background. Another resource for really making fancier slides is SlidesGo. It's right here, slidesgo.com. So if you wanted to have a really fancy background, you can go on here and it gives you an option to use as a Google slide theme. And if you click on it, it would have you make a copy, and then you can just edit those slides. So if you wanted fancy backgrounds, really nice looking ones, they've got as much as you can imagine, or you can just keep it simple. But now you have a worksheet where the students cannot change the boxes that you want to stay put, but they are able to type where you need them to. And just like with that last slide, you could make a shape or just put a text box in and put directions on the side. I hope this helps. I think it's definitely useful for our students to be able to do their work digitally, and it will definitely save us paper and some time this year. Thanks.